welcome back, everyone. Sorry about the rather large delay. Well, hey, I was just wondering, Andrew,
Hey, we're good.
if it was gonna get underway, and we've got 15 drivers now. We were supposed to have a few more. We may have one more yo-yo turn up late to the session. We have 15 drivers today. Unfortunately, we've had a few problems with the cross-play. Just getting invites sorted. Hopefully, it'll be a lot better for next week. And drivers out on track already, or going out on track already, Andrew. So
Yeah,
potentially a dry
definitely
session.
certainly been a little of a trial getting to this point for sure. EA definitely has a little bit more work to do still, but glad that we can finally get underway here at Interlagos.
Yeah, we certainly can. We have got a few new faces, a few familiar ones, a few older familiar ones, like Judd Santi, who's come back for the restarted season 4. And yeah, I said some new faces, and of course on the other platforms. If you're wondering, if you want to know which platform everyone is on, Unity Challenge, you see here when we're with ST3313, who is actually another old familiar face. Phoenix has come back, and he said he was going to once crossplay came along, because he's on his PC now. And now he has for the Aston Martin. And if you're on Xbox, you'll see the little TV with the controller. Of course, if you're on our console, PlayStation, it's the PlayStation logo. So we've got that all sorted and out the way, and hopefully we'll be able to see some really good flying laps, Andrew, with Masibas on his first flying lap.
Yeah, of course, going down through turn number, was that 4 and 5 right now, uphill, that kind of soft braking zone into this more technical bit of the circuit. It'll be very interesting to see how different drivers will take this, whether they will be running a little bit more downforce to take advantage of that section and potentially watch out for some of the rain later, or if they'll be going for that pure top speed to really take advantage in that run out of those final turns and down into turn 1.
Sorry, did you say there's going to be rain later?
I don't know if there will be anything about it. I haven't had any comments about it, but it is Brazil, so...
Yeah, you never know. But they did come out the pitch quite quickly. So the benchmark was a 1:09.371, the first benchmark of the day. Yeah, they did come out the pitch quite quickly. So
yes,
I would be surprised if there was rain, unless we have some drivers who are not paying attention. As you see, Phoenix or ST3313 go 0.3 behind. Golden Soldier goes fastest with a 1:08.3. Of course, I'm not racing in Tuesday now. I've moved to our new tier on a Wednesday, tier 1 that used to be on a Monday. And we've now moved it to Wednesday. So it's a Ferrari front row at the moment, Andrew.
yeah, of course, I think both Astons made a mistake earlier in that lap, because Phoenix definitely had that rear light blinking as he came across the line, and then Shaney, obviously, with a 1:14.6. With 14 drivers out on track right now, seems to be a little bit chaotic, and a few are being held up. But it is we do now have the Haas splitting the two Ferraris up at the top, with Dante coming in with 1:08.4 flat. As teammate Nico comes to the line now, and he goes to the top with a 1:08.2, pipping Golden Soldier by just a little bit.
Got more drivers on their laps. We've got Nyogri on his flying lap. I must say, at the top, it's very, very close at the moment. We'll see where he goes. Goes 9th fastest with a 1:10.544. And who have we got next?
Should be Aleki next to the line in that Alpine on Xbox. DRS wide open at that back as he comes down the pit straight. Nice and tight to that inside wall. And he will only go 12th fastest.
I don't think that.
With a 1:19.1.
Must have made
I believe Halliday, as did Halliday, I believe, like he's going to pull into the pits on that flying lap.
Big hairy jock is still in the pits. Probably the funniest name on the grid, I must admit. Yeah, so the track is reasonably quiet. We've definitely had 4 drivers not set representative laps. Maybe Neogro has Neogri. Oh, I don't know how to say that name. Some of these names, he could probably improve just a little bit. But it's interesting to see what CDMJW, because he was at the top when we had season 4 before the scrapped season 4 now. But Andrew is looking very, very tight at the top at the moment.
Absolutely, definitely a nice tight battle up the front between the Haas and the Ferraris. Just a little bit over a second, or a little bit under a quarter of a second, I believe, separating those top 4 cars. It will certainly be interesting how they fare as this qualifying continues, but I definitely want to look out for both of Aston Martin cars, because they seem very pretty organized out on their laps, so they're probably another pairing that could be somebody to watch out for.
It certainly could be. Sorry, I'm just seeing if Yo-Yo is going to be able to make it in time, as Mesbassi has not been able to make that corner in time.
Yep, so he should be just starting this flying lap now. He'll be, once again, one of the first drivers to set a second lap, as all of those drivers come pouring out of the pits. So he might have to dodge a couple of drivers on their out laps as he starts here, as he comes down into the Senna S's on this lap. So definitely going to be very tight here on exit with these Haas cars. So clean through, and Purple in that first sector runs down into turn 4 a little bit wide and just runs out of room and will validate that lap.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for him. Got a yellow flag at the moment. Can't see what the time is on the clock. The bottom 3, though, who have not set times yet, are now out of the pit lane. Halliday will be the first drivers of those 3.
Deal as well on a, I believe, Phoenix, as you said, coming through the twisty section here now. He was Purple in that first sector. It'll be very interesting to see how far up the board that he can jump. Granted, I believe the Purple sector is a personal best, but we'll have to see where he comes in now, coming out of that final proper corner and onto the pit straight now. It's going to be very interesting to see if Aston Martin driver comes in.
Should be quite close to the top, I think. Yeah, and gets into the 108.
5
108.
Yeah. JW as well, starting his lap. Leader of the original Season 4. Just starting his lap in that Alfa Romeo, but I believe the next to come to the line will be Aleki. Oh no, he's starting a lap. Let's see.
There was someone. Like, oh my God,
OMG High in the Mercedes jumps up into P7 with just under a 109.2. Yeah, very tight at the end of that second sector right now, though.
Yeah, I must admit, I kind of done this with just a bit of luck, I think. I didn't know where everyone was going to be. I've kind of tried to judge it as best I can. There's some Red Bull and Waitsy goes up into 5th place, certainly very close between 3rd and 6th at the moment. CDMJW, as we said, coming around the final corner. Judd Santi, though, puts it on provisional pole, and it's a Haas 1-2, followed by a Ferrari 3-4 at the moment.
Taking a look at JW as he comes to the line now. He only goes 13th fastest, potentially a mistake earlier in that. So definitely those bottom 3 on the board, still without a representative lap time. Those bottom 3 might have changed, but still currently that Haas 1-2 up at the front.
Yeah, very strong. Well, for all those 4 drivers, this could be, if this stays like this, Andrew, this would be a very exciting championship for both of them.
Certainly can't disregard Waits for Phoenix
No.
all within half a second of that whole time. So we'll have to wait and see how this pans out. Some of the drivers almost certainly going to be hoping for a little bit more clean as they go to set a third and potentially fourth flying lap here around Interlagos, as there's been a lot of traffic for these drivers here today, as the Alfa Romeo BDM-JW has a little spin out of those last couple of corners on his in-lap, I believe. So he'll pull into the pit lane.
Yeah, the pit lane is quite busy at the moment. It does seem like most of the drivers are in sync with each other, I would say. Is Yogri is coming into the second sector. He's over a second up on his time, so he'll be in this competitive midfield mix potentially, or potentially even higher than that. He opens the DRS and comes towards the line now, trying to stick to the pit wall for the shortest run to the line. 10th, 109.201. So yeah, definitely in that tight midfield scrap.
We'll see a couple of drivers starting laps now. Got Shaney Boy and OG High getting pretty close to each other. I believe it's Phoenix who's going to be potentially the ones to watch on another lap now. And potentially looking to start his lap now.
Yeah, I think he is just starting his lap now, isn't he? I think he is.
Wait and
Just riding
see.
in for the lap.
RS wide open now. Heads down that first sector. Just on about half a tenth up on his previous time through that first sector. Definitely have air throughout his lap now as he way through sector 2 and runs a little wide, just puts enough rubber off the track to lose that time with just under 6 minutes to go in this qualifying session.
Yeah, he has got enough time to do another lap though, and go back in the pits, put another fresh set of boots on, because I think he's just slowing to get out of the way of a flying Williams there. But I think it was Miss Bassi. It's so hard to say these people's names when you used to race with them all the time. And now
Of course.
commentating with them. Miss Bassi is about to start a lap. So the track's just starting to get a little bit busier as Big O John gets out of the way of that Mercedes there. It's like, oh my god, High, who is invalidated his lap time, of course, this is track, especially in the first sector, Andrew, that track invalidations are, can be quite common.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely plenty of points in both Sector 1, and I'd argue Sector 2 even a little bit more. Working pretty easy to just dip all four wheels off the track just by a few pixels and potentially lose that lap time. As we're now got Majestic Jacob with just over half a tenth up through his first two sectors in that Ferrari. We're going to see if he improved from P4 as his teammate in that middle of the second sector. So he comes to the line and not improve from that P4.
So I'm not sure what the time is on the clock. 4 minutes. If he's quick to get back, he might be able to get out for one more run of it. Miss Bassi comes across the line. 108.9.
Certainly not a bad time from that Williams there. Ferrari pull into the pits here. Halliday is not on. I believe there are going to be drivers on a lap at the moment. Though it does seem that the Mercedes of OMG High will be the first to come out and set his final flying lap. Halliday moves up to 13th. Unless he's starting a lap. So that McLaren will be underway now. A little bit up on his previous time down through turn number 4. Up the hill into sector 2. Sixth gear through that uphill right-hander. Nice and controlled. And into the slowest bit of the racetrack. See how much he can improve. Going to be looking to 7/10 to try and jump Mosh. We're going to see where he's at as he comes to the end of this second sector. He's not significantly up on that first time of his, so we're going to have to wait and see how much he can improve. Certainly a large lot of fuel in his car. It does seem that he will be slowing down at the end of that lap and will not be improving.
So he still stays in 13th place. Shady boy just into the pit lane.
As we have Phoenix in the wall, in that middle of Sector 2 there. Can't see if he has wing damage or not, but he certainly was in the wall. It seems that the end plates are okay, so we may still have time to get a lap in. But certainly unknown if there's damage there, as Aleki's spinning in Sector 2 and just getting out of the way of the Mercedes as well on his outlap. The track is very busy, certainly.
Certainly is. Nico is on his final flying lap, just started. It's an all-white front row, an all-Haas front row with the scarlet red Ferraris breathing down their necks on that second row, and they're both on their outlaps. So we'll see if Nico can improve. Can anyone get into the 107s? Nico, yeah.
That's likely to be the end of qualifying for that second Haas car.
He has got enough time to go again, but does he really have enough battery? That's the question.
That's certainly the question on front. As both Ferraris have now started their laps, so let's see if they can improve from their P4 with Golden Soldier about 2/3 of a tenth up on his pre-lap time through that first sector. There's Harry Jock out of the session in pit lane.
So Judd decided to stay in the pits, didn't think he could go any faster. His teammate has also now dived into the pits. So are the Ferraris going to spoil the Haas driver's day? We'll have to find out as we watch Golden Soldier coming around the final braking zone of the lap. Young Carl, as he now powers up the hill.
Just about half a tenth down on his original time through those first sectors, so it's certainly going to be close with the Haas's up at the front.
Oh, he goes second.
He the second.
It's split the two Haas drivers at the front, but is Jacob going to be able to cause more upset for the Haas drivers? No,
not
stage
quite.
4.
1:10.6. Waitsy is invalidated, so he won't be improving. 5.
And CDMJW is facing the wrong direction at Young Cal. And the other drivers like Phoenix ST3313 and Waits, who's now in the pits, they're not going to be able to improve. So that is the end of qualifying. Coming back from, I think, Season 1, I think he was last year, or Season 2, Judd Santi. And coming back and sticking it straight on pole.
Certainly going to be a very interesting battle up there at the front with those top three separated by just over half a tenth around Interlagos. As we got Phoenix, I believe, just out of fuel here, coming in to finish his lap. But it'll certainly be very interesting, especially with those front three. Definitely can't rule out Majestic Jacob for making another run, and it'll be certainly interesting to see what Waitsy in the Red Bull and the Aston at only about half a second behind those front three.
Yeah, it certainly will be exciting. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get Yo-Yo with us in time. He was stuck at work, I think, or something to that nature. So yeah, I think we're just waiting for Phoenix. And then we'll be ready to get set for the Grand Prix. A little bit late, but better late than never. So, Judd is on pole position and he's on the front row with Golden Soldier, and Nico is in third. Fourth is Majestic Jacob. Waitsy is fifth. Phoenix ST3313 is in sixth. Aliki is in seventh. Mesbasi is in eighth. Like, oh my god, High is ninth. 10th is Niogri. Mosh is 11th. Big Hairy Jock is 12th. Halliday is 13th. CDMJW is 14th. And, Shani Boy is in 15th and last.
Again, not only is the front three going to be the question with them separated by 63 thousandths, but I think those last three just kind of being that little bit extra adrift could be out of position, a little bit out of position, and could make the midfield battle just that much more interesting.
So we've just been told by Phoenix to pronounce his name as Steele. I can see that now.
Yeah.
So we're just waiting for these drivers to do their strategies, which sometimes takes a little bit of time now.
Could certainly make the two-stop work here, but it'll be definitely interesting to see what everybody elects to start on, whether they want to take that harder rubber at the start. Certainly a pretty good possibility of a safety car as well, with a good amount of overtaking opportunity throughout the lap, and with the little chaos that comes with that. Red lined up now.
So just having a look at the strategy call with the tyres, Andrew. No one has touched the soft tyres. Pretty much everyone's gone for the mediums, apart from Waitsy and Aliki.
That's certainly going to be interesting. So Aliki, Waitsy potentially making some later on in this race. Certainly be an interesting thing to watch. Prepare for 36 laps here.
Quite a lot of laps, but it is a short circuit in Slough. This is one of the best to give us some great racing, hopefully. And I'm super excited to see this Haas versus Ferrari battle. And ironically, in the former season 4, Golden Soldier and Majestic Jacob was Haas, and they asked me if I would change them to Ferrari. So maybe there's a bit of a
they can
sign
never
there.
escape. Then the Haas will always be right there. Santi and Nico certainly looking to be very competitive, as I just got the pit stop strategy to pop up. So probably looking at pit stops from around lap 16 to 20 from that AWS graphic. So it'll be certainly interesting to see when everybody decides to pull that trigger for that first round of pit stops, as we have Haas of Santi already parked.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a wait. It's going to be a bit of a wait because Big Hairy Jock, as you saw on your screen a second ago, did actually spin out on the formation lap. It's like, oh my god, High has actually left the session.
Oh, and he's been DSQ'd.
Yeah, he's been disqualified from there. If you could try and send him an invite.
Yeah, quickly, I can do that quickly.
I think we can do it again now.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait to see what happens. Oh no, he's dropped into the back. He's not going to be racing with us. He's only going to be on 14, but we've got 5 red lights and we're away. Or not, as I'm hosting. And now we're away for Tuesday's Limitless 2 with Judd getting a decent start. Golden Soldier looks like he's going to have to go on the defensive. There's a yellow flag at the back.
As there's Niagara and CDM spun out, and they've already had a collision at the back.
Oh, and Phoenix has had a collision as well. Hopefully they can get themselves all sorted and in the right direction. As Santi starts pulling away already from Golden Soldier, and the two Ferraris have now got past the other Haas. So Santi has not got his rear gunner anymore. 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags for CDMJW. It's a bad start to his race.
Certainly going to be frustrating for that Alfa Romeo driver. I don't know if it was Nilgri got a poor start or what happened, but they were together even before hitting that braking zone down into turn number 1. As the Alpine Big Hairy Jock is round. Jun Sao has cars scrambling to get out of the way of him. He'll drop to the back now.
Oh, Stanley's getting in a spot of bother with some drivers. So he's going to have to come into the pit lane. Big Hairy Jock is spun around as well. Nilgri is just hit the back of Stanley and is out of the session. No idea what happened there. We're already down to 13 drivers on lap 2 of this race.
Certainly frustrating for them, as we have Shaney being the first to go onto those soft tires, with CDM looking to swap to those hards early, both with those 5-second penalties served. So they'll come out fairly adrift of the field. But it's still Santi, now a little bit over second clear, as we have the Alfa Romeo of JW spinning a little bit in that pit lane and being reset back. And we have a safety car, I believe, unless that's a virtual safety car. That is a virtual safety car. CDMJW right now did get reset from the pit lane, and just didn't move from being reset onto the track. Certainly going to be frustrating for that Alfa Romeo driver.
So is it just a VSC that we've got at the moment?
I'm trying to see from the boards. I believe it's still a virtual safety car. I'm still waiting to get a good view here on board with Santi. But I don't see the safety car out on track, so I'd assume it is a VSC.
Yeah, I think it is.
It's probably getting fairly close to ending just about now. Is the front three all with drive-thrus now?
Oh no!
For speeding under safety cars, they came through that second sector. So Nico effectively leads this race.
Oh my days, it's all going on in the first 3 laps of this race.
Those front three must have been just on the edge of that delta time, so they could probably accelerate out of a corner, is where they got that penalty from. It'll certainly be interesting to see how their strategy changes now, as both Ferraris will pull into the pit lane to serve their drive-through penalties. So it's still Santi, but that'll very much mix up the order of the field, as Steele also pulls into the pits, as he was another recipient of a drive-through. He'll go through and serve that, and it's currently Nico and Wutzi battling out for the on-track lead, as those Ferraris now back in 8th and 9th, looking to make their way back up the field.
So we're just watching this battle for the net lead between these two. Unfortunately, the two Ferraris and the leader really made a bad mistake there under the VSC. I'm not really sure how you could. All three of you have done so bad. I guess they're all trying to get a jump on each other. As Judd now comes into the pits, I suppose this is an overcut on the other drivers who did drive-throughs. This might work out.
Got Big Hairy Jock around in the second sector, but it's still Nico setting a new fast lap of the race with about a half-second gap back to Waitsy. That'll certainly be interesting to see. We've lost Golden Soldier as well. Let me see if I can get back quickly. Working on that as we speak, but that's a Ferrari gone from this race. But still, those Ferraris looking to battle back as Santi was able to get an undercut on them and is now pulling up to the back of Mispassi in the Williams. But it's going to be the Waitsy in that Red Bull, on that harder compound tire in a great position. Just going to be able to sit behind the DRS of the Haas, which seems to be running significantly less wing or deploying significantly more power. Taking a quick look, they seem to be about equal charge. So it's certainly not necessarily battery deployment as Santi gets Bassi and Majestic as Mispassi and Santi continue to battle. And that's Santi around, I believe, in that battle with Mispassi that was just missed.
He certainly has. And at the front, it's very close at the moment between Waitsy and Nico. Still gets another 3-second time penalty.
Certainly very interesting, but it's the Ferraris and the Haas right back with each other now.
Phoenix is spun around at turn 4, I believe.
Certainly a struggle there, but it looks like he's able to get back going as Golden Soldier, who I believe may be high, and Halliday were going at it. Now there's been a little bit of a gap opened up behind them.
Oh, as we go back to the front, Waitsy's getting closer still to the back of that Haas.
Going to have the second link of DRS here as they come down this straight, about 5/10 separating the pair. But how close can he get on this lap? Not quite close enough through there. But taking a look back, Mosh with a solid race so far, sitting in third. And then you got Majestic Jacob going down the inside of Mispassi. They go side by side, and it's the Ferrari ahead of that Williams car, but the Williams is going to be looking to make a fight back. He switches to that inside corner, an uphill right-hander. They're going to be fighting it out here, keeping it nice and clean as they get into the braking zone. And it's a 69 Ferrari going to have the inside on that second bit of the corner, and is going to be able to take that Williams as they head through this second sector now. Williams looking up that inside, but just not quite having the space, and it's now the Haas of Santi looking to make a move on that Williams and take advantage a little bit there as Waitsy gets to go up the front, and we have a change for the lead.
Halliday is struggling to get himself back on track. Oh, he's just going to cause an incident if he's not careful.
Santi and Bassi going at it. There's a little bit of contact there, and Bassi has to take to the inside. DRS for both cars as they run down into turn 4, and Haas is not quite going to be able to put a move on that Williams.
So the field is starting to spread. We've got these battles in amongst it, though. Big Harry Jock now retiring
in the pit lane there.
Not the race.
Janie Boy with blue flags. It's certainly been a struggle for him. Early crash, and I believe a drive-through has set him significantly back as he pulls into the pit lane. But it's a Red Bull and a Haas battling at the front. A little bit down the order, it's Mispassi looking to the outside. It's Santi looking to the outside of Bassi as they go through here, and he's through on the Williams driver. But that Williams is going to be looking to fight back as that gap is just about a tenth, and there's contact there, and the Williams is pushed into the braking boards. There's not a lot of space there. But he's going to be looking around the outside as the Haas's run wide, and Mies Bassie's Williams retakes P6. Red Bull of Waitsy not stretching his legs, though, with the gap about a second. Not quite long enough to drop DRS range of the Haas. Still very close between the two drivers, just about close enough as Mosh will dive into the pit lane here, who I believe has front wing damage. So he'll pit here on the beginning of lap number 10, possibly for a front wing change in that Alfa Romeo. As Bassi and Santi go side by side again, the Haas on the inside this time into the Senna S's. We'll have to wait and see if he can hold him off this time, as Bassi's been able to make him back at him a couple times. So here goes the Williams down the outside now. This time it's the Williams run a little bit wide, and the Haas taking the inside and able to hold that position. But the Williams looking to make a move back up the inside, uphill, turn number, I believe, 7. But Santi's finally able to make that move stick and has the chance to go back and chase after Majestic Jacob. Certainly looking back up. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say we've still got this battle for the lead. Waitsy did overtake Nico a few laps ago, but he has stayed within DRS range ever since. And they have got a big gap behind them.
About the closest gap the gap has been so far is at about 3/10 down into that braking zone of turn number 4. It's certainly been at least a number of interesting battles throughout the race already, even with not having very many drivers, especially with having 5 drivers out already by lap number 10.
So if you watch the top 2 going up the hill towards turn 1 once again. Nico still staying within DRS range, but is a little way back at the moment.
Certainly interesting to see how Golden Soldier attacks Mies Bassi now that he has been able to rejoin the session in that second Ferrari car. And be looking to make up for lost time there, as he will have DRS, as well as that Williams. They come down to turn 1, setting the fastest lap. Looks to the outside here at turn 1.
Lovely move. As he actually just forces that Williams. I think the Williams and Mies Bassi should have really backed out of that one.
Still side by side.
They are. They're almost contact between the two of them, and Mies Bassi gets back through and into 6th place.
Move that we saw a couple of times that he made on Santi earlier in this race, but that's opened up the gap to the Williams out in front that they're going to need to make a little bit back towards if they are going to look to continue to move up the grid and chase after Allocate and Majestic Jacob in P3 and P4.
So Nico getting quite close this time. And of course Waitsy, I think, is on the hard tyres as well. Compared to Nico.
Because he is, so got Golden Soldier overtaking, looking to make a move on Mies Bassi, and he's ahead before that braking into turn number 1. Look to try and keep that position. They run down into turn 4 now. And that red and yellow Ferrari. They'll have that special livery. A little bit of contact with the Williams. Turned in a little bit too soon, possibly. But that number 29 Ferrari is going to hold position for now. Matt Williams is going to have a look as they go up the hill into turn number 6, but it's not going to quite have a move to make there.
Very, very close though. Back to the front as we go down towards turn 1 again. Or up towards turn 1, should I say, as we go and climb up the hill to the start-finish straight. Still just not close enough at the moment.
Something else to consider is that Majestic Jacob with 3 seconds of penalties already, as well as Nice Basti with 6, and Steele with an additional 3. So those are definitely going to be things to consider throughout this race, especially with Majestic Jacob being rather quick in that leading Ferrari.
Certainly is. The front 2 are closer than ever in this middle sector. Nico, at the moment he's on the back foot, he's on the originally better tyre, but arguably the hard tyre is now going to be the better tyre. It's good that he's still been able to stick with Waitsy, but Waitsy being able to go on to the mediums for his final stint with less fuel, he's going to be in a stronger position in the latter stages of this race.
Nico certainly been seeing that tyre wear fairly well. It definitely seems that through that second sector, he's able to remain pretty close to Waitsy. Take advantage of a little bit less wing to pull back nice and close to that Red Bull's rear diffuser through these 2 DRS zones, as I believe that is steel around on the grass at the end of Sector 2. It's definitely not been a great day for the Aston Martin driver.
No, it certainly hasn't.
I'm taking that look back to the front. Bill Waitsy looking to pull that gap out just about at a second. It's going to be very interesting to see break DRS range on this lap. As long as you keep it clean here, you should get it. And yeah, that gap's up to 1 1/4 seconds. So DRS no longer activated for Nico. Waits is probably going to be looking to stretch that gap as much as possible now that that advantage for Nico is no longer there.
Yeah, he's just lost that slight momentum as Golden Soldier now comes into the pit. I'm pretty sure this is going to be quite close between him and Mosh.
Very close. Good stop from the Ferrari team there. Onto those hard compound tires.
I think he's going to get out ahead of Mosh. However, I think it's still going to be quite close actually, I think.
Should be rather comfortable here. How that Ferrari warms up the tires. Here comes the Alfa Romeo. We'll also be see how this Ferrari comes out in respect to both his teammate and Santi, who are both going to have to pit in the coming laps. As the Haas in P2 of Nico also comes to pits now to switch off of those medium compound tires, which are clearly struggling in comparison to Waitsy on those hard tires.
Yeah, and Majestic Jacob now goes in as well. We'll see if Golden Soldier can undercut him. Miss Bassi is also into the pit, so that has certainly caused a chain reaction there, Andrew, as Nico now just starts to file out of the pit lane.
Yeah, so it'll be certainly interesting to see how that works out. Nico, obviously, with a decently sized gap, has taken a look at the Ferrari and the Alfa Romeo. Golden Soldier and Mosh. Mosh had a little bit of a low side there, but not quite enough to get that move done. The Ferrari seems to have gotten started to get those tires fired up quite nicely. About a 3-second gap from Golden Soldier up to his teammate of Majestic Jacob.
Who's still keeping with him though is Mosh. Majestic Jacob got ahead of Golden Soldier. But of course with those drive-throughs there is a big gap. So it's only going to be Judd now. See what he can do. And he now comes into the pits.
Well, it'll certainly be very interesting where he comes out in relation to both those Ferraris.
It is going to be very close.
Coming out of Gunsao now. That'll certainly be close between these drivers.
Between the two of them, actually. That is what I think is
pretty
going to
clean
happen.
stop for that Haas.
Not sure where he is. Camera's not changing.
Majestic Jacob.
Pit box, yellow flag. Halliday is out.
Halliday is out. And that is at least a virtual safety car. Is it a full safety car? So that's a big advantage for Santi, since he won't have to battle with Golden Soldier behind him. But also Waitsy and Aleki both get 3 stops up at the front of the pack.
Yeah,
and are going to be able to put on a nice set of mediums as the Red Bull already dives into that pit lane.
Yeah, so this is certainly mixed it up. We have lost quite a few drivers, certainly with consistency. Obviously, like, oh my god, High unfortunately got disqualified straight away. Don't know what happened with the MJW. Nyogri was too late on the brakes into the pit lane. And the other 3 have sort of just lost it on their own. So I think, and it is going to happen, Waitsy is actually going to come out into the lead.
Yeah, was it Nico is able to come out and stay in that P2. But it's Aleki, I think, one of the big winners here, being able to put on those mediums right up at the back of Nico. As we get back underway, on either lap 20 or 21. Phoenix definitely a big winner as well, because he had some struggles earlier on this race. And then the 3 drivers that started this race at the front of Jacob, Santi, and Soldier. Definitely some drivers who should get a decent, should gain a decent amount, even if not on track from this, pulling right up to the back of this leading pack. And they showed they had the pace in qualifying with these last about 15 or 16 laps. We'll have to check their overtake here. It'll certainly be an interesting thing to watch.
You know, does someone like Miss Bassi or even Mosh do your pit, try and go for the medium tyres? No, neither of them are pit. I mean, now you're going to lose 1 place. Really, maybe. I don't know if any drivers have a fresh set of mediums at this point in the race that they have the ability to use, which I think is the big thing to consider here. Yeah, that is very true. So I think it'll probably finish at the end of this lap. I think it can finish at the end of this lap. So we'll have to wait and see.
Leave us with about 16 laps to go.
Yeah,
so I think Mosh certainly one of the drivers that will be hoping that may need to pit later on in this race, as the sky is darkening a touch. I don't believe that is a sign of rain, but it's certainly something to watch out for, as it's certainly rather cloudy here at Interlagos.
Certainly is. The drivers with time penalties are not going to be too happy. Certainly Golden Soldier and Majestic Jacob about that safety car. It's bunched up the pack. We have still got quite a long way to go, about a third of the race left to go. Safety car is in this lap. Waitsy now has control of the pace of this 9 pack So, this 9-car pack. Sorry, so we just have to wait and see when he gets back racing again. Of course, he's on brand new medium tyres along with Aliki, and he now gets going.
Underway. Good jump.
It was a good jump, to be fair, to the Haas. And everyone's got away rather nicely by the looks of things. We're not seeing any moves just yet. Keep an eye out on Aliki, though, on those medium tyres against the hard tyres of Nico. Of course, they should be stronger in the last few laps of the race, as we see the Ferrari and Majestic Jacob there, looking for a move, maybe? No,
not quite able to get it.
Out of it. Yeah.
Mosh and Mies Bassi are going at it, and I believe that's Mosh potentially. I believe that's Mosh holding position in the Alfa Romeo, but there's 3 at the back already with a gap starting to form.
Oh, Phoenix actually made slight contact with Bassi, sorry, Steele made slight contact. Chris is now just starting to pull away.
Definitely going to be interesting. Front 6 seeming to already start to pull away and make their own group here. As Waitsy is going to be able to be looking to pull out that gap as much as possible now, as we start lap number 22.
Majestic Jacob very close to the back of Aliki.
Potentially looking to the inside. No, not quite, as the Ferrari behind looks to the inside of Santi. That was Soldier on Santi, but not quite having enough room to get that done as they run up the hill now into Sector 2. But it seems that they will hold position as it stands.
So Waitsy just making that gap a little bit bigger every lap.
We'll have DRS at the end of this lap. They'll certainly make this battle for second very interesting as this race continues.
I'm pretty sure Aliki is going to be going for it on this lap as Waitsy takes the fastest lap of the race.
For a second, almost very close to contact between the Alpine and the Haas.
Ooh,
as Mies Bassi is out, that's in the pit lane. So should be no safety car there. As Majestic Jacob looking to the outside of Aliki into turn 4, maybe a little bit of contact on the inside, but nothing comes out of it. Still side by side as they turn 6 and continue. Can the Ferrari stick it in there? He can for the moment, and he will continue to hold as that harder braking zone there. Majestic Jacob up into the podium places.
Waitsy's just starting to pull away. We have got this very close fight for third place at the moment.
Certainly going to be interesting here again, as Majestic Jacob will not have DRS, but everyone behind him will. First person to look to make that move will Aliki, who's going to look to the inside. The Ferrari's going to cover it off a little bit, but down the inside goes the Alpine.
Oh, contact!
Oh, and there's contact,
the two of them.
And he's in the wall.
I think that was a little bit of Jacob's fault there. I don't think he left enough room on the inside.
Possibly. There was certainly contact there, and I believe over that Alpine. Can't quite see. Yeah, that front left end plate on the Alpine is now missing. So he's going to have to look to struggle around the rest of the lap and get that front wing changed. And it was a very strong race from the Alpine driver point. And that's certainly something that the stewards might have to take a look at the end of this race.
So the two Ferraris are now going to have to try and hunt down this Haas driver towards the end of this race we're getting to now. We're going to be coming into the last 10 laps. soon enough. Waitsy's got himself a really healthy gap now. And it looks like it's Haas versus Ferrari fight as we thought, but not for first place, but for second place on the last two steps of the podium.
Steele has certainly had a nice, strong recovery. Seems to be pulling that gap a little bit with each passing lap. It's about a 3-second gap now, where I believe it was about 4 or 5 earlier on in the race, so that's going to be certainly interesting to watch as Aleki switches over to those soft tires with that front wing change, so he's going to be looking for that extra fastest lap point. And we'll be hoping to potentially make a little bit of a climb back up the field.
Let's hope so. Someone just leave the session now. Just missed that.
Yeah, that was me, Stassi.
Okay. At least we didn't have anyone leave who is still racing. So as I said, we've got this Haas Ferrari battle going on right now.
It's going to be very interesting to see how these Ferrari drivers deal with this battle, as they seem very close here into turn 1. And it's Golden Soldier down the inside of Majestic Jacob. Fairly clean through there. And it seems that it'll be Golden Soldier for now, but does that expose Majestic Jacob to the half of Santi? They're very close. All the cars within about a second of each other, as the Ferraris side by side again now. And it's the Haas up the inside of Majestic Jacob, 2 positions down into turn 4. This is going to be a very interesting battle to watch now. The Golden Soldier will look to take advantage and potentially try and break away from that Haas behind him. But this could be a very interesting battle to watch over these next few laps.
It certainly could be. Seeing as Steele is also actually catching up as well now. These guys fighting amongst themselves as the Aston Martin in the background. This is good for Nico, however. He is starting to pull away from Golden Soldier, so it's 2 Ferraris versus a Haas at this moment in time.
Golden Soldier also making a pull away from the Haas before that DRS. Jacob looking to the inside there, and there's a little bit of contact on the exit there in the Senna S's. Seems to be no damage from it. Seems that they'll all hold position on this lap. But certainly going to be looking to make a move here on Santi before too much longer. Try and get those little bit extra points for Ferrari. Is Jacob a little bit twitch there as he came up the hill down into the braking zone, but able to keep hold of that Ferrari.
Still very close between these 3. I'm sure this will carry on until the end of the race. Steele, though, is getting very close to DRS range now, within 2 seconds. We'll just drop down a bit now, but surely with these 3 fighting for that 3rd place. The Ferrari's on the back foot, though, seeing as they've both got penalties, but Steele has as well. We'll just double check what those penalties are looking like. All 3 seconds. So Judd is actually looking pretty strong at the moment. The other drivers, I'm sure, are going to be praying for him to get a time penalty, and they will be on an even platform.
Fairly clean from the Haas so far, though. Like, pretty low on ERS for all the Ferraris and the Haas. For both Ferraris and the Haas. But it's Waitsy very comfortable now with an over 5-second gap as we cross the line with about 8 laps to go. To be very comfortable just now in race management mode. Now that he's been able to pull a nice little gap to Nico behind him.
And of course, they are catching up to Nico now as well. So that gap shrinking.
Certainly getting closer, though I think Nico probably has a lot of DRS at his disposal if he decides to use it. So a gap about 0.3 between the Ferrari and the Haas, so that's going to be very interesting to watch. Seem to be pulling a little bit from Jacob now. Santi right up onto the back of Golden Soldier here through Sector 2.
Yeah, this battle is getting much closer. It's definitely heating up. It's getting towards boiling point, I must admit, as we're about to go on to D.
Into the DRS zone now. How close can that Haas pull? Not quite close enough into turn 1, so he's gonna look to set up that move into turn number 4.
Potentially, yeah. As we go down towards turn 4 now, down the Retroposta.
Had plenty of practice trying to make a move work with his battle on Mies Bassi earlier on. Not quite able to get close enough this time round.
And of course, Golden Soldier has just got Nico in his sight, so he's going to be focusing ahead, presumably more than behind. But I'm really loving, Andrew, this Ferrari Haas battle.
Certainly going to be something that hopefully remains throughout the entirety of this Tuesday season. That'll be a very interesting battle to watch up at the front. Obviously, Nico, the only one not received a drive-through penalty on lap 3 of this race. Certainly taking advantage of that. But definitely going to be interesting to watch how this race continues as Golden Soldier continues to get closer to the DRS range of Nico.
Yeah, he certainly does. So it's going to be a fight for second. The two Hasses have got big smiles on their faces, though, because they're the ones without time penalties. It's almost Majestic Jacob's job now to sort of push Santi into a mistake to get himself a time penalty. Of course, these drivers will still try and fight for the position just in case there is a time penalty at the end. You should never really give it up. You should never know what is going to happen. Just like
Another
that.
penalty for Jacob. So that puts Steele now up into a net P5. So that Aston's going to be looking to have a nice number of solid laps and continue a solid pace that he's had since a little bit of a struggle earlier on.
He is within DRS of Nico, who just dropped back out of it again. He's late on the brakes, which he was. He may be able to get within that 1 second. I think he has managed to do it.
Certainly close, and he does have that rear wing open now. Should have a four-way battle for second on track here in these next couple of laps.
Yeah, well, we'll have to wait and see.
Speaking of wait and see, he's now got a 6.2 second gap. I apologize for the awful pun. But almost 6.2 seconds now up at the front. Been very comfortable since this safety car restart. And is definitely going to be looking to take advantage of the four-way fight behind, which could be a five-way fight if Steele is able to come onto the scene. It's certainly going to be something very interesting to watch over these last 4 laps of racing here at Interlagos.
Yeah, we have had quite a lot of drivers lead us in this race. We have got lower numbers than usual towards the end of this race, but these 4 drivers have certainly kept the tension up in these last 10 laps or so. Just a shame for the time penalties, because otherwise we would have no idea who's going to take that second and third place. We do have some idea what could happen, but as I said, these other drivers might get themselves time penalties. Within that time, you can honestly get yourself 3 warnings within about 2 corners on certain tracks, so you always have to be quite careful.
We can hear the gap's about 6/10 between Nico and Golden Soldier, as they're just pulling a little bit from Santi and Jacob now. Not quite enough to break DRS, but still breaking a little bit, as Waitsy has actually been losing a little bit of time on this lap. And it's certainly just moving into careful position. As Golden Soldier goes down the outside, there's contact. And then can that Ferrari hold it? He cannot! And that means the second half of Santi takes over. Steal up the inside of Nico. The little bit of contact between Nico and Soldier has completely shaken up this order now.
It has done, yeah. It might have been a racing incident there, I think.
Ferrari looking around the outside now as they go up the hill. It is going to be Golden Soldier.
I think Nico was letting him through there, I think.
Possibly. If it wasn't, it was certainly a nice move from Golden Soldier to take that position.
So it looks like, obviously, Waitsy is going to take this win if he carries on the way he's going. He's got 2 laps to go.
Especially with that 7-second gap now. Steele's going to be looking to hope to close up to Majestic Jacob and not battle too much with Golden Soldier and Nico behind him, because he could potentially be on the podium in his return here to LFR. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on, is that gap between Majestic Jacob and Steele.
Still very close between those two. Keep an eye on those penalties again. So Jacob's got 6 seconds. He said Phoenix should get himself a podium here, a shot podium, I must say. But if Nico stays where he is, it might turn out to be his podium. This is just going to be very interesting in terms of penalties now. These drivers are all still quite close, even though Nico and Golden Soldier have that slight contact a lap or 2 ago.
We go here with Waitsy starting his final lap of this race. You've been rather dominant ever since getting the move done on Nico. He was looking for a move there on Golden Soldier down into turn 1. But been pretty dominant since overtaking Nico early on in this race and has led since.
He's actually going to go for it. Sorry, I'm just cutting you off. No, he's decided
no problem.
Against it.
No problem at all.
I was going to say, it's not
to
really
the inside. Took a brief look at the inside there, but thought better of it, perhaps. As we now have Nico with a time penalty, so now that battle is for that 5th place.
It is indeed. We'll come back to it in a second as we see Waitsy come around the final corner. He did reserve tonight. He may be joining us as a full-time driver, but for his first race in Tuesday Limitless 2, he slows down for the line. He is going to win the Brazilian Grand Prix in Tuesday's Limitless 2. I think Judd Santi is going to come home in second place. Third place is going to be Majestic Jacob. Is it? No, it's Phoenix for the minute. Go to Steele. It is going to go to Steele. Steele is going to steal that 3rd place. Sorry for the pun as well.
It's all right. It makes up for mine earlier.
We're just going to wait for the final 2 to come across the line. It's a shame that Messi retired. He would have got himself some points, but Waitsy has finished with a win.
Aleki as well. They definitely had a strong first half to this race, and certainly disappointing. But it is the Red Bull of winning the Brazilian Grand Prix here. Great and very interesting drive all around. Here you see the Aston Martin is field with driver of the day. It's a nice recovery after some incidents early on in this race.
Yeah, there certainly was. So we'll do the final order and then we'll get off, as we did start very, very late indeed. So Waitsy takes the win in that Red Bull. Jed Santi on his return a podium and finishes in second place, as well as the Aston Martin driver of course, we knew him as Phoenix and now Steele. Majestic Jacob comes home in fourth with his teammate behind him in fifth place. Sixth place was Nico. Seventh place was Mosh, and Aleki came home in eighth. All the DNFs were Miss Bassi, Halliday, Shani, Big Harry Jock, Nyogri, CDMJW, and oh my god, hi. So thank you very much for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with Lewis and Flea, maybe, I think, for Wednesday's Limitless One. So please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Please make sure you like the video. If you're watching us and haven't actually joined the league, just make sure to put a comment on the video for a Discord link to join us. Make sure you watch the video from last night as well, of Road to Glory, for their first race last night at Australia. Thank you very much, Andrew, for joining me. It was definitely dramatic in a lot of the race.
Of course, been a pleasure to spend nice Tuesday afternoon or evening, depending on where you are here. And definitely congratulations